Welcome back to On Location coverage. It is day number 2, stop 5 of the Bassmaster Elite Series, and we're officially at the halfway point of the 2023 Bassmaster Elite Series. And what better spot to do it than the birth state of Bassmaster, in the great state of Alabama, for the Whataburger Bassmaster Elite at Lay Lake. And looking atop the leaderboard, Brandon Polinick, your day 1 leader, is once again in the lead with 30 pounds and 3 ounces. And Bernie Schultz had a big event just 2 events ago. And look out, he's knocking on the door here again in second place. Brian New, literally a nightmare season up to this point. An angler that has had no tough times at all, was sitting in 101st coming into this event in Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year points. Not anymore. New continues to climb that leaderboard. And our leaderboard this week, Davey Height is in the studio, and I am joined by my road brother, James Overstreet, Bassmaster photographer, and a lot of history just pulling into Lay Lake here, man. You think about all the great events that have been here in the past.
I do, Dave. When we came here the first morning, we got out of the truck, the sun came up, and I guess the last tournament I worked here, the last 2 were Bassmaster Classics, and there's a lot of history right here behind us, especially on the other side of that bridge over there where Brandon is. I spent a lot of time over there and out here in Beeswax Creek, the last classic I worked here. So, yeah. This is, if there's an amphitheater for bass fishing, it's right there on the other side of that bridge. That's as close as I've seen.
Do you remember a tournament where it literally, they always sandbag, but do you remember a tournament where after the day 1 weigh and you're like, I said that to you last night at dinner, I'm like, does anybody think they're going to catch a bass on day 2? Like, it literally felt like even your tournament leaders from first place to last place standings was scratching their head after yesterday.
No, I think from top to bottom, it was most of the field was pretty much thinking today was going to be just a day. They didn't know what they were going to do. Brandon's going to go back to the back of the creek, but he's catching them. But look, it's slow. It's slow for everybody. The whole lake's slow. So I think for once they probably shot us pretty straight on the practice.
Well, they were honest with us, but we'll be honest with you on everything that's been going on here on the water. This, a look at your playing field. Lay Lake, 12,000 acres, a pretty small body of water by Elite Series standards, especially if you look at some of the giant bodies of water that we have been to already this year. But it's not about the last 4 events. It's about stop number 5, the Whataburger Bassmaster Elite. And let's catch everybody up on all the doings on day number 2 with your Toyota midday report from beautiful Lay Lake. And let's start with Gary Klaus, the 2012 PAA Angler of the Year, and having a great tournament, Street.
Yeah, you see Gary out there offshore. A lot of guys around grass. Gary's one of the guys that's out there offshore. He's found those fish that are moving back out to the main channel out there, and pretty much staying in that one area, getting it done, though.
Good to see Gary Klaus inside our top 10. Hope to have him around all the way through till Sunday as he tries to drive to his ultimate goal and make the Bassmaster Classic. Speaking of goals, he's got to right the ship, and he's doing it this week. Brian New, good to see him finally catching them.
Yeah, earlier I saw him. He was the fish catch. Here it is. We show it right here. So they call it the fish catch of the morning right here. They called that. So no doubt this is a good one here. Skipping up on a jig under a dock. It's hard to beat that kind of fishing, Dave Mercer.
Yeah. God,
No jig bite had to feel good.
How good does that feel? Speaking of good, always perpetually good-looking hairdo. Bernie Schultz once again threatening for this title.
That's fine.
Street, he has been around for a long, long time, but I mean that is one of those feel-good stories. If we were to see Bernie win here this week,
well, I mean, I guess as guys that work with bass or for bass, whatever, we're not supposed to be cheerleaders, but Bernie's been around since '92. I mean, brother could probably use the trophy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let me be honest. If we're not allowed to be cheerleaders, I probably would have been fired a long time ago because I wear a lot of pom-poms for this guy, Brandon Polinick.
Yeah, that's who you aptly, well, I guess you coined him the Prodigy several years ago, and I in turn, you and I hang out a lot. I tend to refer to him as the Golden Child.
He is the Golden Child, and
yeah.
After a tough start to the season, But he was one of those dudes on stage that said he wanted to catch enough weight in day one so he didn't have to catch one in day two because he didn't know whether he could. Well, obviously, he's been able to figure it out. And the way this fishery's fishing, you got to think he's going to be a big threat, just simply because he's one of those anglers that is able to just scrap everything and fish what's in front of him.
Right. And what's surprising to me, though, in a way is, and I didn't know if it would play or not, is how do these thunder sticks get sole possession of that area back there on the other side of that bridge? And when everybody knows what goes down back there, but Kevin Van Dam ends up with that place back there to himself, and Brandon's got it. Early on, there's a few boats kind of slipped in here under the bridge. They did the same thing to Kevin when he won the Classic back there. But, here we go again. So,
not a big keeper.
that may be the one thing
he's
that
keeper.
will allow him to have this hold up.
Hooked you like
Nobody else back there. If he can keep that to himself.
Yeah. He was the only one in that area on day one.
I saw a little help he's in there this morning with him.
Okay.
But I don't think they got very far back in there where he's at. And didn't stay long, and that's just kind of how it works sometimes. But last time I looked back there, I took a little drive over there just before we came on live, and he's the one left back there right now.
through.
Paulnick obviously only 4 fish in the live well. Covering this tournament from all angles, we've got, a lot of on-boat footage and some aerial footage, which is basically, if we could wave, we're right below that tent right there, and he's coming right over our head, which means Brian New, not far from us.
No, he's directly behind us, actually, across there.
Wow. Incredible shot from our takeoff venue.
I've had
Out
the bites
to Brian
today.
New.
Unfortunately, I've lost 4 of them. The plus is definitely got enough to make the cut. The negative is had enough to probably have a pretty decent lead, enough bites. But we got a lot of time left. Just kind of came in here close to takeoff, very close to takeoff, trying to just catch a release fish or 2. And so far it hasn't went so well. But I did catch caught a keeper spot in here yesterday, and a small keeper largemouth as well. I would take those right now. We've got, 4 hours, a little over 4 hours. We don't come in until 3:30. So we've got plenty of time. We really just need 3 bites. We've got to capitalize on them. Really was fortunate yesterday. Everything went right. Didn't lose any. And today, I was fortunate that I didn't lose the 2 I did, especially the one great big. You catch one like that on this
that
lake.
jig looks like staying around docks. That's kind of been his deal, looks like, this morning. I didn't see what he did yesterday, but dock seemed to be the deal for him. I was surprised the grass was so far along here. Of course, we live in Arkansas. Latitude's about the same. Grass seems to be much further along here. When I got here, how lush and all it was. But having a bit of a time catching them out of some of that grass.
Yeah, the amount of pressure on this body of water.
Maybe I should just stick with the jig.
Bassmaster Elite Series in town, it did not stop the Thursday nighter happening last night. It still happened.
It's got to go on. At Willowwee's probably seen a few swim jigs, I would imagine. A few buzz baits buzzing over it, that sort of thing, just a few.
Boy, New, and he's been very open about it, and he's talked about how close, although this season has truly been a nightmare up to this point for him, it's been so close to being right. I mean, literally one little decision wrong, and it just shows just how volatile this sport is.
Yeah, and you see how it can go the other way, too. You know, that's the same with momentum. You can get on that good train or that bad train, and then you can ride either one for a while if you let it. But he does really, I think he knows he's good enough to turn it around.
Yeah.
Come
And
on,
you see
Mr.
that.
Bass.
You see that already happening.
Yeah, I've never. There's times when you have conversations with anglers, and they feel lost.
Right.
They're like, I just don't know. None of the conversations I've had with him were those. It was just like, man, it's frustrating how it keeps happening to me, but I know I'm going to get out of this.
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to Brian New about his deal, I talked to him actually. You know, we had those conversations in the morning a lot of times on the dock with some of these guys.
I still consider it fairly
And,
early.
you know, it's kind of just quit.
Still have
And then
4
some,
hours of fishing time left.
you know,
You do a lot.
I need some encouragement, but you know, they're down, dude, but that's the difference with him. He's not down,
just a
you know,
matter
he's not beat down by what's been going on. It's just
moving it in and
Can.
moving around. And you can
Out
make
on the water
something
right now
happen.
live with Christy Palnick,
feel
Arian
like we've-
Schultz.
The water being low, plus, you know, us and other guys fishing through here, I feel like we've... Ooh, something... That was weird. That looks like a really good spot. And swore something nibbled it. But I think we've just depleted a lot of this. Bluegill biting it or what that was? You see it's just a little darker right there. I don't know if there's a little, like a little stump on the bottom or something. Must not have been an aggressive 5-pounder.
he's moved way out. He's closer out by the bridge now, where he was all the way back in the back. So I don't know if he's working his way out. Or he's just giving that place time to rest further back, or.
How is it possible that? I mean, I just find it amazing that he got it to himself.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, well, you and I mentioned that to you. How do you, as in this field, allow Kevin Van Dam and Brandon Polinick to have that back there?
Yeah,
You
two
know?
different tournaments are being dominated by them.
You know, sometimes, I mean, does it a deal where you overthink it? You say, oh, well, you know, back of beeswax, it'll be covered up.
Uncharacteristically tough season by his standards. I think he was kind of in the mid-60s in Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year points coming into this event. But, you know, as frustrating as that may be for Jason Christie and the standard he sets, there is a bunch of great, you know, look at our next fisheries. We're going to go to Orange, Texas, Sabine River. He won there.
Right.
Then we're going to go to Lake St. Clair. He won there.
Right. Yeah, he'll be all right.
He'll be fine.
Yes. And you know, he fishes good mad.
Yeah.
Today has been opposite of yesterday. Yesterday I got a quick start. You know, I caught like 10 pounds in the first 30 minutes, and we only got one of those bites this morning. And so then I went to plan B, which is frogging, how I caught the majority of the weight yesterday. And even though yesterday was cloudy too, it was different. Like those fish wanted to get up there. And I've just not caught anything in the stuff. It's all been just around. You know, the good thing is I really ain't got nothing else to do. I start thinking about you know, going to the river channel out there, but I did that for 2 hours. And I don't know, I'm just gonna, it's been a lot slower. I mean, I've got just as many bites on the frog already, but they're really small. Had one decent one, but just nothing to brag about so far. But, you know, yesterday it was just like one bite an hour, one bite every hour and a half. That was good. So we had a little wind yesterday, and it's just so calm. It's hard to, you know, get around these pads and stuff without touching them and moving them, because it's so shallow because the water's come down. So just going to fish and hopefully catch what bites. All I can do.
Jason Christie currently in 15th place. And as he said, a much different day than yesterday, but a lot of time ahead here. And the second day of the 5th stop of 2023, the Whataburger Bassmaster Elite at Lay Lake. Got to whittle our field down to the top 50, but that'll look at our top 10 right now. Hey, look at in 10th place, Caleb Sumrall, another guy trying to recover after a tough start to the season. And that scary Steve Kendi keeps hanging around there. You don't want to let him loose on the weekend, do you?
No, he got momentum, man. I mean, he's coming. Yeah.
He's coming, but nobody has more than Brandon Polnick, your leader, right now. We'll be right back.